make people realize that they are their own first responder. And if you're pro-police, but you live in an area where they're trying to get rid of police, that leaves you.
Hey guys, Michael Singleton back with you, and I got a doozy for you. What would you do if the governor of your state decided to ban firearms carry in public for 30 days? It's a health emergency. Well, if you're a law-abiding citizen, you're probably wondering, well, is this constitutional, one? And then number two, what can I do about it to make my voice heard? Well, Jerry Yanis at Guns and Gadgets is here with me to help me break this all down and provide you with the information so that, Jared, people can protect themselves if this does happen in their states.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about.
Thanks for being here with me, bro.
Pleasure, my friend.
This is a crazy one, Jeremy. When I saw this news, I couldn't believe it. My first thought process was, well, one, this is not constitutional. But then two, I was wondering, well, what's the argument that the governor is using to propose such a ban? So help walk me through all of this.
Sure. So yesterday, the governor of New Mexico, Michelle Lujan Grisham, decided that because there were some terrible injuries that took place at the hands of bad people with guns in her state, that she was going to ban open and concealed carry, thus banning the entire Second Amendment in Albuquerque and I think it's called Bernalillo County for at least 30 days.
At least 30 days.
Because she's calling it a health emergency. She was questioned on this yesterday, and some of the press said, well, isn't this unconstitutional? And she said, and I'll paraphrase,
Yeah.
except when I declare an emergency, I can enact more rules. I can enact more powers. So she thinks she has the power to supersede the Constitution. And I know a lot of people in the community are up in arms.
Yeah.
A couple of the state reps there are asking for people to contact their representatives so that they can start the impeachment process.
And so, and this is unconstitutional for the simple fact that the governor doesn't have the right to trump the Second Amendment. Like, that's just not a lawful, prohibited thing.
Not even close.
There's no precedent that says the governor, whether it's the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the amendments about property rights, they just do not have those rights. I want to be clear for our viewers out there who are wondering, well, in the case of an emergency, can a governor do that?
No.
No precedent for such a thing. So then, Jared, if people in New Mexico or in other places want to be supportive of what's going on, what should they do?
Absolutely start calling, and if you're not a member, join the local 2A organizations. So I know some of the big national groups have been looking at this since last night.
Yep.
I know people in the state legislature are trying to figure out ways to either, like I said earlier, impeach her or to start lawsuits against her immediately. So people are starting the process, but they're going to need, we the people, to support these efforts. They're not going to do it if they're going to get pushed back and no support. So that's key for people, especially in New Mexico. If you're in that affected area, you have to burn up the phone, support these people. They need you.
And what about people who are watching and say, well, this is a terrible thing, but I don't live in New Mexico. So, what can I really do? What would you say?
Well, I would caution them. I'd say that this is a trial balloon. This governor, who is very left-wing, very left-leaning.
Not a supporter of guns.
Not at all. If she can do it, then why can't the governor of California or Hawaii or New York or any of the other 6 or 7 states that hate the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
If she can do it and get away with it, they're going to try it, because that's just the way gun control works. So people need to get involved. Even if you don't live in New Mexico, make a phone call.
You can do that from wherever you are.
Absolutely. It's pretty easy to find the number. You can look up Governor of New Mexico on Google and start burning up the phone.
I don't support this.
Yeah.
So for the new gun owners, Jared, who they're watching this video and they're like, wow, I didn't even know this was a thing or could ever become a thing. What do you say to those individuals, because they're just starting their journey as firearms owners?
Welcome to the team, number one. Number two, the fight for our right never ends. The fight to try to take our right will always happen.
Yeah.
Thus, we need to be that sentinel to stop it at all times. So learn up as much as you can, learn how to use your tool, but also learn the laws that support what you do and the laws that are trying to pass to take away what you do. Because, we got 10+ million new members in this community, but we need them all to be educated members of the community.
Yeah.
And that's one of the good things here at the USCCA. They can actually start learning that.
It is. So why do you think, Jared, we are seeing some lawmakers, not a lot, because there are Democrats who aren't necessarily big fans of the Second Amendment, but they do support people's laws. Hey, look, it is what it is. I don't agree with this, but I'm going to respect the Constitution. Why do you think some are willing to go further than others?
For me, I think it's because they don't get put in check. They don't. So those of us who love the Second Amendment, we call ourselves a silent majority. And politicians, as you know, they tend to go the way of the political wind. They're just like flags. They'll go back and forth. And when all they hear is the Moms Demand Action or the Bloombergs or the Giffords and the like, and we don't we don't voice our opinion on why they're wrong, the other groups are wrong, well, they're going to say, well, if you guys aren't, letting me know, you're not calling my office, then silence is acceptance.
Yeah.
And they're going to go with the squeaky wheel.
Loudest voices.
Absolutely.
Do you think that having a more expansive, more diverse Second Amendment community could help push back against efforts like this? And if so, why? Like what does that diversity of coalition mean from your perspective to politicians, you would say?
Dude, I absolutely think the diversity of where we are right now is only an advantage that we're not really doing much with right now.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Gun laws were created for one reason, and that was to disarm the black slaves, right? And the largest growing demographic of gun owners right now is black women.
Black women, yeah.
Right? And it petrifies the gun controllers. It petrifies a lot of the old school, old guard politicians. And if we can get more groups involved, doesn't matter race, color, creed, ethnicity, background, what state, get everybody involved, then they're not going to have their typical voting bases to rely on. And when we start telling them we're going to do everything we can to get rid of you, most politicians are only worried about being reelected and growing more powerful.
Say, I'm going to hands-off approach on this particular issue. How do we engage then with, you mentioned black women, you have black men, you have the Latino community, the Asian community, they have their gun group now to sort of build with more Asian Americans. How should we engage with those groups who are slowly starting their own groups, starting to train together, starting to slowly learn more, but how do we activate members of each group to be aware of some of these affronts to the Second Amendment? Because I do think that there's a huge learning curve in that regard. And also, Jared, a lot of people don't like to get into some of the political nuances of this, but it is important as these people start to become owners.
Right. I think that people need to realize, some people don't want to be really politically involved, but they don't have to. To be an advocate, you don't have to be politically involved.
Explain what that means.
You can have conversations at the dinner table with maybe family members that might not have a favorable view on the Second Amendment. You can start having those conversations and make people realize.
Approach.
Absolutely, that's how we win, man. That's exactly how we win. Make people realize that they are their own first responder. And if you're pro-police, but you live in an area where they're trying to get rid of police, that leaves you. And who's going to take care of you? And if we go off of the governor in New Mexico who's saying we're going to ban the Second Amendment for 30 days to bring down violent crime, well, then if we just get rid of all the law-abiding citizens, there's no crime? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't work that way.
So I need people to realize that we, the people, the grassroots, we are the fix. We are the answer to the problem, and we all need to get involved.
There's an old saying from Dr. King that one of the most segregated days in America is on Sunday in church. And by that, he was essentially trying to say that groups of people go to church with other like-minded or visually similar groups of people.
Right.
How do we get across that in the Second Amendment community? Again, you have the Asian group, you have the Latinos, you have African Americans now, you have the majority. How do we say, okay, this is great for people who look similar to maybe want some love of comfort? We can understand because we're human beings. But at the end of the day, we do have a shared commonality. How do we, Asian community, Black community, Hispanic community, the various women groups, how do we say, hey, it's okay if you guys want to get together sometimes, do your thing. But let's also come together as a collective. How do we start that conversation, Jared?
Well, I think it's already taken place. I mean, look around us today.
Yeah.
There's people of every type of make, model, and vehicle of person you can think of. But you can't just only do it today while you're in this building.
It has to be continuous.
You have to carry it on. And sometimes, I mean, it's folks like you all at Guns Out. You guys are doing a tremendous job of getting multiple groups to come together. And I hope people would watch my channel for the news and the same information. But it's just going to take people swallow their pride and say, hey, man, you want to go to the range. It's a lot of pride going around, man.
It's a lot of pride,
a lot of it.
Man. I mean.
But it's easy to do.
It is, but I feel like it's easier said than done.
Because it's uncomfortable, and people don't like to be put in spots where they're not comfortable.
Man.
But you know what? I wasn't always comfortable calling politicians. You weren't always comfortable doing what you're doing, right?
That's true. That's true.
But now it's fun doing it.
You got to do it, though.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Before we end, thinking about New Mexico, thinking about how broad and expansive the overall community is going, do you think people who are... I always like to be sort of respectful of people who disagree with me, even when I vehemently disagree with them. People who aren't supporters of the Second Amendment, maybe there's a level of ignorance, maybe there's a level of fear. I think one of the things that Braden said in a separate conversation of Langley Outdoors was that he believes the people who are sort of trying to bring these changes are aware of what they're doing, But he thinks their position is by removing firearms is going to make us all safer. And that is just not a position that most of us share. We don't see that as a logical connection, if you will. Do you think that those arguments are becoming weaker, or do you think they're becoming stronger? Because to me, I sort of wonder if some of these last fights are just their way of just throwing everything they have in a last ditch effort, because they're realizing, wow, this is becoming more diverse. This is becoming stronger. The numbers are getting larger. There's just not much we can do about it. How do you interpret that?
I think there's a value to both sides of that coin. Yes, they're losing, and by them I mean the gun controllers, because of the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Brewer decision. They're losing a lot, so they are throwing more stuff at the wall now to try to get something to stick. And in the process of doing that, we've heard, I want to feel safe. People should be able to feel safe. I want my constituents to feel safe. And I think that's only going to hurt them, because nowhere in the Declaration of Independence, nowhere in the Constitution, nowhere in the Bill of Rights do you have a right to feel safe in America. You don't.
If you did, criminals wouldn't exist, right? They would say, oh, people have a right. Let me not criminalize them.
I think by them going off of feelings a lot lately, it's going to be a downfall for them, because we've seen a lot of things in many communities and many businesses where they're doing things because of feelings, and they're losing a lot of market share. And if I'm somebody in New Mexico and I'm walking down a dark alley tonight and somebody tries to rob me, I'm not going to wish that Ryan Grisham was in front of me trying to save me. It's my turn to be my own first responder, and I'm going to save me.
I agree with that. Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
I mean, guys, that's fascinating conversation with Jared, what's going on in New Mexico. Maybe you're wondering, well, could this ever happen to me? Maybe it could, maybe it won't. Does the governor have the constitutional authority to do it? No, she does not. And what can you do as a law-abiding gun owner in New Mexico or somewhere else to support those individuals? Well, call your local lawmakers, or call New Mexico if you're outside of the state and say, hey, we do not support this. And I'll ask you this question as we close. Do you feel it's the government's job to keep you safe, or would you feel a whole lot better if that job was reserved for you and your family? I'm sure Michael Singleton. Thanks for watching.